What is happening, people? Welcome back to the Bieber Beat, your ultimate source for the stories that matter, right when they drop. The news cycle is moving at lightning speed, and if you're not plugged in, you're missing out. We've got a packed show today, bringing you the absolute latest on developments that are shaping our world. Get ready, because we're diving deep into the headlines that everyone will be talking about. From significant legal decisions to high-profile commentary, we've got it all covered. You do not want to miss a second of this. Let's get into it. First up, we're tracking major legal developments. The Delhi High Court has delivered a crucial verdict regarding bail for prominent activists in a high-profile case. This decision has significant implications, and we're breaking down exactly what it means. Stay tuned for all the details on this developing story. Next, we're hearing from a very important voice in the legal landscape. The former Chief Justice of India is weighing in on the public narrative surrounding a contentious legal matter, offering a perspective that challenges common assumptions and highlights the nuances often missed. This commentary is essential listening for anyone trying to understand the full picture. Then, we're looking at the broader implications of these legal proceedings, with a focus on public perception and the ongoing debate. Is this a matter of justice being served, or is there a deeper trust deficit at play? We're exploring the different angles and asking the tough questions. And finally, we're bringing you the latest on the legal challenges and the arguments presented in court, detailing the prosecution's stance and the defense's claims. This is the information you need to stay informed. Stick around, because you won't want to miss any of this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the Bieber Beat family. Justice denied or conspiracy confirmed. This is a pivotal moment in a high-profile legal battle, as the Delhi High Court has made a significant ruling on bail for several activists, including Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam, in connection with the alleged larger conspiracy behind the February 2020 riots. The court's decision comes after a period of intense legal scrutiny and public interest. The activists, who have been in jail since 2020, had approached the High Court challenging a trial court's order that had previously dismissed their bail pleas. The prosecution, represented by the Solicitor General, had strongly opposed the bail applications, arguing that the riots were not spontaneous, but a meticulously planned event with a sinister motive and a well-thought-out conspiracy. The prosecution's argument centered on the claim that the actions were aimed at defaming India on a global level, and that prolonged incarceration should not be a sole basis for granting bail, especially when dealing with offenses deemed grave. The defense, on the other hand, presented arguments that highlighted the lengthy incarceration of the accused and sought parity with other co-accused who had been granted bail. Specifically, Sharjeel Imam's counsel contended that he was completely disconnected from the location, time, and other co-accused, including Umar Khalid, and that his speeches and WhatsApp chats did not advocate for unrest. The defense also pointed to previous instances where the Supreme Court had adjourned hearings on Khalid's bail plea, and that Khalid had eventually withdrawn his application due to changed circumstances. The case is rooted in FIR 59 of 2020, registered by Delhi Police's Special Cell, which names numerous individuals and charges them under the stringent Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA, and various sections of the Indian Penal Code, including criminal conspiracy, promoting enmity, rioting, and murder. The violence in question erupted in northeast Delhi in February 2020 during protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, and the National Register of Citizens, NRC. The clashes resulted in a significant loss of life, with 53 people dead and over 700 injured. The prosecution further alleged that speeches made by Khalid, Imam, and other co-accused created a sense of fear, with a common pattern of referencing the CJI, the Babri Mosque, Triple Talaq, and Kashmir. They argued that in cases involving such grave offenses, the principle of bail is the rule and jail is the exception should not apply. The prosecution also denied any attempts to delay trial court proceedings, stating that the right to a speedy trial was not a free pass. This ruling has sparked considerable discussion, with many questioning whether this decision reflects a definitive stance on the conspiracy or if it exacerbates existing concerns about judicial processes and public trust. The detailed order is now awaited to fully understand the court's reasoning. And that's just the beginning of our legal deep dive. But before we move on, can you believe the complexities involved here? Stay tuned, because next, we're hearing a powerful perspective from a former Chief Justice of India that directly addresses the narrative surrounding these very cases. Lost in translation or deliberate omission. Ex-CJI Chandrachud on the Umar Khalid narrative. Former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has recently voiced significant concerns regarding the public discourse and media portrayal surrounding the bail plea of Umar Khalid, an activist accused in the Delhi riots' larger conspiracy case. Justice Chandrachud has pointedly questioned the narrative often presented by certain segments of society, suggesting that crucial details are being overlooked or deliberately omitted. In a candid interview, Justice Chandrachud highlighted a specific aspect of Khalid's bail application process that he believes is being widely misunderstood or ignored. He revealed that Khalid's legal team had sought multiple adjournments, stating, "I do not want to comment on the merits of the case, but I must tell you one thing which is lost sight by a lot of people when it comes to Umar Khalid's case. Can you imagine that the case was adjourned? They were at least 7, if not more, adjournments which were sought by the counsel appearing for Umar Khalid, and eventually the application for bail was withdrawn." He further elaborated on the implications of such actions by legal counsel, posing a rhetorical question about what is to be made of lawyers who repeatedly request adjournments before a judge and then withdraw a case. He emphasized that the legal process requires a certain transparency and accountability, suggesting that when a lawyer repeatedly seeks time before the court, it raises questions about the underlying reluctance to argue the case. The option, he noted, was either to argue the case from the outset or to withdraw the application for bail, but not to repeatedly delay proceedings. Justice Chandrachud's commentary comes at a time when the public perception of judicial proceedings can be heavily influenced by social media and selective reporting. He expressed his dismay at how a particular perspective is often conveyed, leaving judges with little recourse to defend themselves or clarify the factual matrix of court proceedings. He suggested that a closer examination of the fine print of what transpires in court would reveal a reality that is far more nuanced than what is often presented to the public. This, he implied, contributes to a trust deficit where the public may not have a complete or accurate understanding of the judicial process. This discussion also touches upon recent observations made by the Karkarduma court, which had previously warned the counsels representing all accused in the Delhi riots case to cease seeking constant adjournments and to be prepared to argue their cases. The bench had expressed surprise at the frequency of these adjournments, noting that matters were supposed to be heard on a day-to-day basis, with counsels expected to reach a consensus on the sequence of arguments. Adding another layer to the narrative, it is important to recall that Umar Khalid had previously withdrawn his bail application before the Supreme Court due to changed circumstances. This withdrawal followed earlier occasions where the Supreme Court had adjourned the hearing of his plea. The juxtaposition of these events, repeated adjournments, withdrawal of the application, and the subsequent public commentary, forms a complex picture of the legal proceedings. This intervention by the former CJI adds a critical dimension to the ongoing debate, urging a more thorough and less biased examination of the facts and legal procedures involved in high-profile cases. Justice Chandrachud's sharp insights shed light on how legal narratives can be shaped. But what happens when the courts themselves are put in the spotlight for their decisions? Stay with us as we explore the public reaction and the debate around justice and trust. Travesty or trust deficit, decoding the bail denial for Delhi riot accused. In a significant legal development, the Delhi High Court has denied bail to activists Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, and 7 other individuals implicated in the alleged larger conspiracy behind the February 2020 riots. This decision has ignited a fervent debate, with many questioning whether the court's ruling represents a travesty of justice or reflects a deeper trust deficit in the legal system. The core of the prosecution's argument, as presented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, is that the riots were not spontaneous, but a pre-planned event orchestrated with a sinister motive, and a well-thought-out conspiracy aimed at globally defaming India. Mehta contended that in cases involving such grave offenses, the fundamental principle of bail is the rule and jail is the exception should not be applied. He emphatically stated, "If you do anything against your nation, you better be in jail till you are acquitted." This stance underscores the gravity with which the authorities view the alleged conspiracy. Conversely, the defense teams for the accused have highlighted their prolonged incarceration since 2020. They have argued for parity with other co-accused who have been granted bail. For instance, Sharjeel Imam's counsel argued that he was completely disconnected from the specific locations, timings, and other co-accused, including Umar Khalid, asserting that his speeches and digital communications never incited unrest. The defense also pointed to the history of adjournments in Umar Khalid's case, including his eventual withdrawal of a bail application before the Supreme Court due to changed circumstances, suggesting procedural complexities that warrant consideration. The case itself stems from FIR 59 of 2020, filed by Delhi Police's Special Cell. The accused face charges under the stringent Unlawful Activities, Prevention Act, UAPA, and various sections of the Indian Penal Code, including criminal conspiracy, promoting enmity, rioting, and murder. The violence that erupted in northeast Delhi in February 2020 during protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, and the National Register of Citizens NRC, led to 53 fatalities and over 700 injuries. The prosecution alleges that speeches by Khalid, Imam, and others created fear by referencing contentious issues like the CJI NRC, the Babri Mosque, Triple Talaq, and Kashmir, forming a clinical and pathological conspiracy. The prosecution has refuted claims of attempting to delay proceedings, asserting that the right to a speedy trial is not a free pass. The Delhi High Court's bench, comprising Justices Navin Chawla and Shailendra Kaur, dismissed the appeals against the trial court's order, with a detailed explanation expected. The lengthy incarceration of the accused and the prosecution's assertion of a planned conspiracy form the crux of the legal arguments. This ruling has intensified the public discourse, raising questions about the balance between national security, the right to protest, and individual liberties. The differing perspectives on whether this denial of bail signifies a triumph of justice or a symptom of a broader trust deficit will likely continue to fuel debate. These legal rulings and expert opinions paint a complex picture. But how does the public perceive these developments? Stay tuned as we explore the reactions and ongoing dialogue surrounding these critical issues. High Court upholds UAPA charges, denies bail in Delhi riots conspiracy. New Delhi, in a significant judicial pronouncement, the Delhi High Court has denied bail to prominent activists Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, and 7 other individuals in connection with an Unlawful Activities, Prevention Act, UAPA case linked to the alleged conspiracy behind the February 2020 riots. The decision was delivered by a bench of Justices Navin Chawla and Shailendra Kaur, who dismissed all appeals after reserving their order on July 9. A detailed order is anticipated. The accused have been in judicial custody since 2020, and their appeals to the High Court were against a trial court's prior dismissal of their bail pleas. The prosecution, represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, vehemently opposed the bail applications, characterizing the events not as spontaneous riots, but as a carefully planned operation with a sinister motive and a well-thought-out conspiracy designed to defame India on a global level. Mehta argued that in such circumstances, where national interests are perceived to be at stake, prolonged incarceration should not be a ground for bail, stating, "If you do anything against your nation, you better be in jail till you are acquitted." In contrast, the defense counsel for the accused, including Sharjeel Imam, argued that their clients were completely disconnected from the specific riot locations, timings, and other co-accused, including Khalid. They asserted that speeches and digital communications from the accused did not call for unrest. The defense also highlighted the long period of incarceration as a key factor and sought parity with other co-accused who had been granted bail. Umar Khalid's counsel had previously withdrawn his bail application before the Supreme Court, citing changed circumstances, following several adjournments of the hearing. The case originates from FIR 59 of 2020, registered by Delhi Police's Special Cell. The charges invoked include criminal conspiracy, promoting enmity, rioting, and murder under the Indian Penal Code, alongside the stringent UAPA. The violence in question, which occurred in northeast Delhi during protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, and the National Register of Citizens NRC, resulted in 53 deaths and over 700 injuries. The prosecution alleged that the speeches delivered by Khalid, Imam, and other co-accused created a climate of fear through common themes referencing the CJNRC, Babri Mosque, Triple Talaq, and Kashmir, thereby constituting a clinical and pathological conspiracy. Delhi police countered any accusations of delaying trial court proceedings, asserting that the right to a speedy trial does not grant a free pass. The prosecution maintained that the principle of bail is the rule and jail is the exception, is inapplicable in cases involving such severe allegations. The High Court's dismissal of these bail pleas reinforces the trial court's stance and indicates that the judicial process will continue to scrutinize the evidence related to the alleged conspiracy. These legal proceedings are clearly complex and have far-reaching implications. But what does this mean for the public and the ongoing conversation? Stay tuned as we wrap up with a look at the broader impact and what's next. And that's a wrap on today's critical updates. We covered the Delhi High Court denying bail to activists Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam in the 2020 riot conspiracy case, former CJI Chandrachud questioning the public narrative around Khalid's bail plea, the ongoing debate on whether the bail denial is a travesty or signals a trust deficit, and the High Court's affirmation of UAPA charges in the riot case. Don't miss out on any future breaking news. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the conversation in the comments below. Follow us on all social media platforms for more updates. We'll see you next time on the Bieber Beat.